Hello and welcome to this week's episode of So Fired. I'm Chelsea Toronto.
I'm Dr. Lindsay Regier.
Hi, welcome.
Hello. Welcome.
Hey, so this week we are talking, this week's episode is entitled Switchbacks. Because we are still doing our 4-week series of all things backs.
Mm-hmm.
So what's new and exciting?
Let's see. What is new and exciting? Not a lot. I just had a party at my office. That was exciting.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Otherwise, the pool's open at my place. That's exciting. And that's about it.
Cool.
Yeah. What's up with you?
Nothing. Drawing a blank here. Nothing much, really. Just seriously, I'm blank. I'm boring. So
yeah. Do you have a so fire to fire moment?
My whole thing is a fire to so fire. So everything we're about to talk about. So this week's episode, we're talking about switchbacks, and we'll title it Wanderlost. So if we're about to get into it, let's get into it.
Yeah. I'll tell you my so fire to fire moment.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
It's actually not that good, but you know what? It's like good in my own mind. So if you've been watching me on Instagram, you see that I have really bad acne at the moment, like literally the worst acne I've had since I was like 16. And one of my friends from high school reached out to me we've like started rekindling our friendship a little bit here and there, but then she reached out to me again and she's like, oh my God, I get it. It's like miserable and it's terrible. So like, even though I'm feeling really self-conscious about everything right now, at least I rekindled a friendship. And so that was the plus side.
That is a nice thing. That is.
Yeah.
Well, that's a sweet story.
So yeah.
It is a pretty good one, actually.
Thank you.
Don't discount your fire to so fires.
I will not discount tire them.
Well, isn't that clever? I just dropped Lindsay just picked me up from Discount Tire. That's why I'm a little discombobulated this morning. So, wow.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about the episode is your so fire to fire moment. So
yeah,
let's get into it.
Okay, so lately I've been hiking, and for the first time I went on a hike even though I had to work at 4. So my thinking was, I can do this. I'm just going up to Boulder, not Chautauqua, but just a little further west. I forgot what it's called, but, and I was like, oh, it says it's like 2.5 hours. Great. I got there, started right at 10:30. This is fine. It was a lovely hike. In the beginning, it looks like an enchanted forest meets like the Hobbit. And then there's like a little Ranger Rick stand and like made like the old timey like logs. Like total Wes Anderson meets like Moonrise Kingdom, like so cute, and like logs and just like really cute things along the way. I see I take into account a couple of things along the way. Somebody's dog got sick and I was like, that happens. And then I'm seeing other little things that just make note. I'm like, oh, that branch, what a neat little black thing that is. And then I see a fellow hiker along the trail. She says, this way you dogs are allowed and this way they're not. And I was like, well, I know which way I'm taking. Clearly dogs. So I'm seeing people occasionally. It's not like it was when I had paid the exclusivity fee when I went and did hanging lake, but whatevs, it's all good. And so I was seeing people and they were loud and kind of annoying, but whatevs. And now it's like a good hour and I don't know, an hour and a half, right? Yeah, a little bit, an hour and 20. So I get there and I get to the summit and it's very pretty. And I guess I really just don't like Boulder hikes because, okay, so I get to the summit and there's people everywhere and they're kind of annoying and like, or at least they're just not reverent. Like you should just.
Is it just too many people?
No, it was just, they were all loud and obnoxious. And it's like, just dial it down just a smidge. And one guy was like standing on one foot, balancing on top of the big boulder. And I was like, good God, you're going to fall. And I can't handle this. Anyway, so I like go around the block, or around the boulder rather, to have a moment, eat some snacks. Of course, I got to do like fucking story while I'm up there.
Of course.
And, they're probably like, oh, you can't even put your phone away. So touche. So, and then with that, I just started hiking down. And no biggie. And I was like, this is really lovely. I'm like, it's really great. None of these people are right behind me. I was like actually hiking fast in hopes that I would have just a little bit of leeway before I got to them, like before they caught up with me rather. And I was like, wow, I'm making really good time. No one is catching up to me. Wow, it's pretty quiet. There's really no one behind me. Interesting. And then I keep going, and I keep walking, and I'm like, I wonder if I'm on the other. oh, fuck. So now I'm walking and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm like, clearly I'm on the other path, I think, but I don't, and I hadn't even like registered that. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm clearly on the other path, but I don't, because I don't remember seeing any of these things. And it was so much more technical. Like at one point I was like crawling across like a rock bed.
Wow.
And I'm getting really nervous. Like there's a little unsettling in my chest and like in my mind. I'm like, it's okay. You're just still on a path. Look, along these boulders, there's like little white chalking marks. So I'm like, but not like a whole rock is painted. It's like just a couple little chalks. So if you're looking and you're desperate to look for something like some type of marker, that was it.
What kind of marks? Is it an arrow or is
it
just lines or
it's a little like white chalk coloring?
Oh.
It's not the most obvious, but again, if you're very desperate looking for some type of indicator that you're on the right path, this was it. Because at this point, if you don't have your wits about you, none of it could look like a path.
Mm-hmm.
It could just look like there was a slide rock. Okay, so I'm hiking, and I'm like, not knowing what this side of the trail looks like or what to anticipate. So now I'm like, I'm lost. Like, I didn't even think that way. I'm not doing the story justice, but like, I'm starting to like think, oh, fuck. Like a full body, oh, fuck.
How long down the path were you when you're like, oh, fuck?
Like a half hour.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm like, should I turn back? I can't. It's too far. And then I'm like, and then I start like, okay. You're on a path. It's daylight. It's fine. You have a lot of water. You have some snacks. You definitely have like a pair of pants and a long sleeve shirt. I had cell reception by the grace of God. And then I thought, I will call you. Mm-hmm. I will call Ken. Or I'll just call you and you can coordinate with Ken and you guys can tell because I always forward you where I'm going.
Yep.
And then, so I'm like, okay, it's fine. But now I've got a little bit of a time crunch.
She's tapping her invisible watch on
which who wears watch anymore, but okay. So then I'm like still becoming a little mindful of the time because I can't leave any later than like 2. So it's okay. It's like 12:30. It's fine. And then, so now I'm really starting to get nervous and I'm like, okay, at least I'm now below tree line. Like, right. I am clearly descending, but it doesn't feel like I'm 100% descending. It is clearly switchbacks, right? Where you're a little lost and like switchbacks, like, yeah, you just, like you're back and forth and like, am I lost?
You're like, am I getting anywhere?
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Like I'm zigzagging back and forth and it's, then you kind of get in your mind, oh my God, am I on the right path or is this am I going the right way or am I going the wrong way? I don't know because you're just kind of, getting discombobulated and your head is like playing tricks on you.
It was indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's exactly right. Panicking. I didn't like, and the panic feel was starting to feel in my chest and my head. And like the oh fuck feeling was kind of in my like solar plex region. Mm-hmm. This was like a full body. And I was like, fuck. Not like you know what I mean? Like this was like the whole body was coming in unison to say, oh no. Right. So it wasn't just about time. I was like, okay, should I be calling my work? Okay. So I'm still going. Here we go. Here's even more fun. There is a rain cloud. Clearly thunder is coming. Like I heard the thunder. So now I am running down the trail with my sticks. Right. And so I was like, I certainly have done a personal best on like getting down. Right. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, but don't trip and fall because are you going to, So I was like, let's proceed with caution. Finally, I get to the post. I called Ken and I was like, I called. He answered. It wasn't the first ring, but it was like, so then I called and I'm like, I cut him off. I was like, I'm lost. I don't know where I am. And there's rain. There's thunderclouds ahead. And he kind of laughed. He's like, ha, ha, ha. And then he's like, please get to the...
You're an official hiker now. Welcome to the club.
He's like, please get to the tree line. I was like, I can't. It's too far along. I can't turn back. I mean, at one point I even thought, like, should I turn back? But it was too far. Like, it was too far along. I had to keep going, even though I was, like, legit terrified. Like, you're trying to, like, brainstorm and, like, triage at the same moment. And you're like, it was too far gone to, like, turn back. And he was like, get to the tree line. I'm like, well, that is not an option. He said, well, then just find a pocket behind a tree and hang tight.
Okay.
And at first I was like, fine, click. So, no, but maybe 5 minutes later, I'll check the timestamp on my phone. I was like, I'm fine. I found like the 2 spots, like where the lady said you can go to the dog version or the non-dog version. So it turns out obviously it was coming down the non-dog version. Now I see what they said. Don't bring your dogs here. They're not going to like thrive on these conditions. So I got to the 2 posts. Finally, I was down there. And I was like, okay, I can trust this. But I couldn't trust it. I couldn't allow myself to trust that I was on the right spot. Now I'm seeing like the Ranger Rick stand. And I still couldn't trust it. I was like terrified inside still. And then, let's see, I saw the little branch and I saw the dog stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm literally like, my car is just up the road. But I still couldn't allow myself to trust the fact that like, it's okay and I made it. And the whole time I'm like, I wonder what was... I was like anticipating like this is going to be such a great surge and excitement and relief when this happens, and I'm going to have such a spirit like a spiritual breakthrough, like and I never did. Like I thought it was going to be like
the fear overtook
it just
any other mental capacity for a breakthrough.
What I can describe, so switchbacks, do you know what they are?
It's a 180-degree bend or in a road or a path. Especially when leading up a side of a mountain.
180 degrees, right? I mean, like, that was, like, the experience. So what I was drawing from, I'm like, well, 2 things. I was like, because I always go hiking looking for creativity and, like, inspo. Up to that point, I didn't have any inspo. And there was, like, no enhanced enlightenment on any of this. Like, I was me, and I was up there. I was, like, hiking. I was like, man, I don't have any, like, inspiration, and I'm not coming up with anything creative. And God was like, bam.
Oh, you want creative? We're going to spin you around in circles and then shove you down the mountain and hope that you find your way out. Like,
and then we're going to throw in some thunderstorms and let's see what you make of that, kid. You think you're so good? And then I was testing. I noticed that what do you do? So here's the thing. Let's get to what it really means for me. Like, and for others, hopefully they can identify. This is the first time I've been terrified in a long time. Not fear. And I was like, this isn't fear. This isn't like, I'm afraid to start a business. This was like fear of the mind and the body, where I'm like, I could be out like over my tips here. And so I was like legit terrified. It just, what put it in perspective was that like nothing we talk about that we should be afraid of is like worth being afraid of. I was like, I will gladly start some silly business.
Yes.
Do Instagram posting and do all those things until you think you're lost in the woods and that there's a storm coming and you might quickly you assess and take inventory of your faculties, what you have in a pack, who can you call, do you have cell service? Like, well, what was I going to do if I didn't have cell service? Point of the story is I don't like hiking in Boulder. This is now the second time I've gone hiking in Boulder and something fucked up when it happened. The very first time I hiked, now this is like 12 years ago, and it's no fault through Boulder.
Boulder, step it up. Make sure your hikes are better.
No, I hiked it, and then I didn't realize that it wasn't a loop, so I hiked it, and I kept hiking, and I like hiked up over the mountain, and then ended in like 10 miles away.
Oh my God.
And I had to like hang out in a parking lot and ask like so I totally profiled, and I looked for a nice male-female couple in a Subaru. Actually, it didn't matter if it was a male-female, but that was what I found. I just needed a couple going into a Subaru. It couldn't be a solo, and they couldn't be going into any other car other than a Subaru. Luckily, that was abundant. Yeah. And because it was like twilight, and I'm like, I got lost. Can you help me? And back then I was so like timid, and now I would have been like, yo, hiker lost. And so I had them drive me all the way back around to Chautauqua.
Wow. Did you do the Royal Arch and then...
Yes, that was that then.
Oh.
Actually, it wasn't. Yeah, it must have been. And then I just kept going.
And then keep going. I've never made it to the top of that one because I don't have any hiking equipment, and hiking in sneakers in the middle of winter, not ideal because it's very icy, and then we have to slide back down on our booties.
Oh yeah, you did do that. Yeah,
that's actually really fun.
It might be. Yeah, I would. That sounds more fun than typical hiking.
Yeah.
You did that when? With Amber?
Katie.
Yeah. When was that?
That was last winter.
Oh, it was that long? That recent?
Yeah.
It feels like it was a lot longer ago.
Yeah, like last winter.
Fun.
Yeah. So I think the question is, when we're all forced to do things that we don't want to be doing,
right?
and we can't control anything around us, like how do we get through those situations?
These are the notes I made last night at work.
It's like printer paper receipts.
So say that again.
Okay, so when you're forced to do something and you don't have control over the situation or environment, how do you get through those moments?
So and I think that's a very good question because I didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, like I didn't have, sure, my initial reaction was like, maybe I should just turn around because I'll know for sure. And I was like, that's not an option here. You have zero option. You literally just have to keep going. Now I'm running and I am like, God, I hope this works out.
Yes.
And it's like, that was the only option. So like when your back is, here we go.
Back against the ropes again, back against the boulder.
You have no choice.
You literally just have to go.
Your body, you have to like, your mind, I don't know. To suspend the terror that was, I mean, terror sounds a bit dramatic, but it was a legit, like, fear has been watered down to an Instagram word. And I'm sad about that because this was fear in the original sense of the word. But I think what somebody might be more inclined to identify with at this point is like terror.
Mm-hmm. And you're just stuck in your tracks and you don't know what to do.
I couldn't be stuck in my tracks and I couldn't. So I guess to your question,
like, how do you get through it?
There are no choices. You put your head down and you keep hiking.
Mm-hmm. Same within life. Keep your head down. Keep going.
So I was thinking everything in life is simple and easy compared to the feelings I'm experiencing at this moment.
Oh, it sounds like you got a whole new perspective.
I did. On fear or terror, I did. And did it take it out of me to like not want to hike? No. And I actually thought, oh, did I do anything stupid? Is someone gonna be like, Chelsea, that was stupid? No, I didn't do anything dumb. And I had a rain jacket and I was very well prepared. So my first thing, and I think that's interesting to think that like, out of all the things to think of at that moment, one of them was somebody thinking, oh, that was stupid, Chelsea.
Yeah.
That's another episode.
How deeply programmed are you into thinking that is your first thought? I think, having a real visceral full body fear and terror maybe gives you like a whole new perspective of fear of the unknown. Like you said, with Instagram and like starting a business or doing all these things. Like how we're talking about, we want to do the hike to happiness. You're going to do the hike to happiness. And Chelsea's going to take you out and give you a whole new perspective. And the second that I said, okay, we're going to make it a business, she's like, I don't know.
I don't think I care about that now.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah, I
you
don't
decided to have like a real terrifying experience because really like the things we say that we're afraid of in life is just like fear of the unknown. But the terror of being caught up on a mountain and like, oh shit, how am I going to get down? And this is like
real life. This is real life.
Yeah. I think that, I guess you guys go get caught in a mountain and then you'll know what real fear is.
There's what's real in life is death.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's sick. And like you said, things you can't control.
Mm-hmm. Like
those are real. I feel like, and he said, she said, they talk about this and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but they're so comfortable and things are so easy in life that it's just our brains are almost just lazy. Fears, in my opinion, I'm not striking this down, don't kill me, but when we're talking about like fear of starting a business or fear of like not starting your brand, that's not fear, that's laziness.
Boom. Ooh. They also say get comfortable being uncomfortable.
That was the first time I've been really uncomfortable in a really long time. And like that. And I put that up there with like the loss of my dad.
Oh, I mean, so maybe we don't want to get used to that feeling.
No, we do. I definitely do. Because you know what? Everything's stripped away. And until you've had one of those real life experiences happen to you, you don't know what kind of person you are until you see those experiences, and it really tests your character. And it doesn't matter what your character looks like, but then you'll say, oh, starting a business or like starting a brand means zero. I came up with the quote. What did I say? Maybe you're not lost. Maybe you just don't know where you're headed yet.
Yep.
And I thought that was an excellent quote that I made up for myself, because it was like, I was never really, really lost. I just didn't know where I was or where I was headed.
That's like a metaphor for life.
This whole thing was.
Yeah.
It was neat.
I don't think I've had a terrifying experience like that.
No, and you haven't had loss of life yet. So you are still a babe in the woods, which is great. And
I'm a little Bambi.
I covet that for you as long as that lasts.
Thanks.
Because it does a number on your soul. And maybe it won't do it. Like, everybody's experience is different. And our extenuating circumstances were like, I mean, my dad only died, he was 10 years older than I am right now.
Yeah. Ooh.
But, so there's no way of encouraging people to be terrified or be afraid. But it's there are I don't know what's the right note to end on this, but it was let me check my notes here.
I think that maybe we're just giving the fear that we have in our everyday lives more credit than it deserves. And when you actually come across something where it's full body out of control, you can't do anything about it, that's legit. So, our excuses that we have about I don't know how to do this, I can't start before I'm ready, that's all fear.
They're just excuses.
Yeah.
Let's swap that word out for excuses, because that's not really what fear is. The fear is you lost your child, or what if you lost your dog at dusk?
Oh, that would be terrifying.
That's
oh my gosh. One night, this was a few years ago, Austin and I came home from dinner. I don't know what we were doing, but he took Layla out and he came back and Layla wasn't with him. And I was like, where's Layla? And he's like, I don't know. I lost her. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? No, where is she? And he's like, I don't know. I lost her. I'm like, and I'm just running outside. I'm screaming her name. I'm crawling around in the woods. I am calling for her. And I was terrified. I was crying. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, if we can't find her, I have to do this, or what if we go this way? And I was freaking the fuck out. And the next, oh my God, that was terrifying. Now you bring up that. I remember that. And
now you know the feeling I'm talking about.
Oh my God. I
had to say something
again.
I had to say something that's resonates for you. You're hiking, you're lost.
Oh no, but Layla being lost, that was seriously the most terrifying
thing. So what
thing.
happened?
Oh, then we see her trotting up the stairs to our apartment door. And I was where was she? And where did she come from? But oh my God, I was so angry and I was so upset and I was so sad, and it was literally all the emotions that I could possibly feel. And I was just devastated. I'm I cannot lose her.
Don't you hate your spouse when they do something fucked up like that?
What is happening?
Yeah. So that's legit fear.
Yeah.
That's why I wish we could stop using that word, because it's that's what I'm describing, what you just experienced. Your whole demeanor just changed.
Oh yeah.
That veil of terror.
Yeah. So you know what? We're all full of shit and we're full of excuses. So until you lose your dog at dusk or your
hiking. Right? I mean, those are things you can't control, and we forget how many things things really can be out of our control. Oh, everything's within our control. Yeah, until something like that really just goes. Until it's not. And so is it worth it? It's not even worth reminding people that this is how it is, because I would say 99% of the day you can control. Mm-hmm. So I'm ooh, gloom and doom. There's going to be something you can't control. You know what? Call me when that happens. I mean, and then we can talk about it. But for me to put that bug in your ear, oh, on So Fire, they said there's going to be something I can't control. Well, fuck it. Just keep living your perfect life, and in all sincerity, because let's not live in fear.
Yeah.
But if you do, just have self-service. Keep your wits about you. Know what you do if you can, and then if not, just you're going to get through it.
Yeah. And I would say take some inventory about where you are using fear as an excuse.
Yeah.
And
or take inventory on what tools you do have on your pack of life.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said in one of my Instagram posts, it's I may be just a hostess, I may be a failed business owner, I may be all these things, but just like hiking, I'm not going to stop till I get to the top.
Boom.
I'm so clever.
All right, friends, if you're listening to this while you're out hiking right now, snap a selfie of you and that beautiful view, and then tag us and share it on Instagram. So fired pod. So thanks for listening, and share this with your bestie, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Disclaimer. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The stories and statements expressed herein are experiences and opinions. They may not represent the views of the production studio or the hosts. If you disagree with our content, that's okay. No podcast is perfect for everyone.